This plain gray shirt may cost more than the entire outfit beside it. Yet it is designed so almost nobody notices. Inside a room full of tailored suits, the same shirt can make its wearer look more powerful, if everyone already knows who he is. So why are America's richest people paying extraordinary prices to look completely ordinary, at least to anyone outside their world? In America, this style is often called quiet luxury or stealth wealth. Minimal branding, neutral colors, and value hidden inside details most people never see. Across the American map, from Silicon Valley to Greenwich, the Hamptons, and Montana's Yellowstone Club, the wealthy do not share one uniform. But their wealth is becoming harder to read from a distance. Many of these pieces are elevated basics, ordinary garments upgraded through fabric, fit, and finishing while remaining visually unremarkable. In the United States, the trend becomes easier to understand during economic anxiety or an economic downturn, when layoffs, inflation, and inequality make public displays of wealth more sensitive. Is this genuine minimalism, or has status simply found a quieter and more exclusive language? The familiar explanation begins with minimalism. When everyone already knows you are rich, proving it through clothing can become unnecessary. The simple appearance also has a practical defense. When a day contains hundreds of decisions, similar outfits remove one small choice from the morning. And when money is no longer the constraint, comfort changes. An ordinary-looking garment can use softer materials and be altered precisely for one body. Discretion also has practical value. Logo-free clothing attracts less attention, reduces recognition, and avoids looking openly extravagant in sensitive situations. None of these explanations is false. Confidence, efficiency, comfort, privacy, and a genuine preference for simplicity can exist in the same choice, but they leave one problem. If status no longer matters, why pay so much for details that only a small group can recognize? In 1899, during America's Gilded Age, Thorstein Veblen described the older mechanism as conspicuous consumption, buying luxury partly because other people could see that you could afford it. A large logo worked like a public translator. It turned private wealth into a message almost anyone could read across a crowded street. Luxury brands then expanded that language through perfume, belts, small accessories, and more accessible products built around instantly recognizable symbols. At the same time, counterfeits and cheaper substitutes learned to reproduce the visible part of luxury faster, cheaper, and with increasing accuracy. When a status symbol becomes easy to copy, it loses precision. The logo still names the brand, but says less about the person carrying it. A 2010 Journal of Marketing study examined this through brand prominence, the visibility of a brand's identifying marks on a product. It found that wealthy buyers with little need to impress outsiders often paid more for quiet products mainly recognized by similarly wealthy, knowledgeable buyers. The study also found that counterfeit goods favored conspicuous designs because large symbols are easier for status-seeking buyers to recognize and imitate. This is class signaling, social groups recognizing one another. A product no longer needs to speak to everyone, only to the audience whose recognition matters. So the signal moves from printed logos into elevated basics. Fabric, fit, finishing, provenance, limited distribution, and access to specialized makers. A factory can copy the outline of a cashmere sweater. Copying its hand feel, natural drape, finishing, and supply chain is much harder. The strongest barrier is cultural capital, knowing which materials matter, which cuts are unusual, and which tiny details deserve attention. Money can buy the garment. It cannot instantly buy the years of exposure, education, and social contact required to read it accurately. That is inconspicuous consumption. The spending remains substantial, but the signal is placed where most of the public is not equipped to see it. Yet materials alone cannot explain why the same hoodie makes one person look powerful and another look careless. In 2014, Red Sneakers Effect studies found that deliberate nonconformity could sometimes make a person appear more competent and higher status than someone following the rules. but the effect required observers to know the rule and believe the violation was intentional, not careless or uninformed. In America's Silicon Valley, the minimalist hoodie could once signal autonomy. A founder can make the room adjust to him. A job applicant usually cannot. Here is the real reversal in the story of America's wealthy. They are not paying to look poor. They are paying to become difficult for outsiders to measure. Conspicuous consumption gives strangers a rough estimate of what you spent. Inconspicuous consumption asks whether they possess the knowledge and access to estimate it. Status did not disappear. It became encrypted, and the decoder for class signaling is education, taste, social membership, and freedom from ordinary rules. That mechanism becomes especially useful during economic anxiety or a downturn. Hidden spending creates less resentment and less unwanted attention than publicly displayed excess. It can also be wrapped in the language of sustainable luxury, craftsmanship, durability, traceable materials, and respect for the people who made the product. Those values can be genuine. They can also signal refined awareness, turning morality and restraint into another form of social distinction. The class barrier therefore remains. It simply becomes harder to see. A logo reveals a distance, while stealth wealth can make the distance itself invisible. Class signaling also wears different uniforms across America. Silicon Valley has its tech code. Greenwich and the Hamptons have finance and legacy codes. Yellowstone Club turns private access into the signal. Social media can copy beige palettes, minimalism, and an old money look in a weekend. It cannot copy private networks, inherited habits, or permission to enter a closed door. The outward aesthetic will change. Large logos and theatrical fashion may return. But whenever a signal becomes common, elites search for one that is scarcer and harder to read. In America, future luxury may move beyond objects toward privacy, control over time, health, human attention, and experiences that cannot be mass-produced. Still, not every plain shirt is a class strategy. Minimalism, comfort, and sustainable luxury can be sincere choices. Meaning depends on context and the wearer's power. Return to the gray shirt from the opening. At first, it was simply plain, logo-free, and almost completely unremarkable. Now its silence contains elevated basics, material, technique, scarcity, cultural capital, and the freedom to enter a room without dressing like everyone else. The same shirt can make one person look careless and another look powerful. The difference is not entirely in the garment, but in the wearer's social position. The rich did not stop signaling wealth. They made the signal quieter and made the decoder more expensive.